Welcome back, everybody. Another week of the Multiverse of Fandom podcast.
Thanks for waiting for me.
Anytime.
Welcome back, guys. Today we are talking Cowboy Bebop. Again.
Yeah, because
we are taking our time to finish it, clearly. And we talked about the first two episodes last time on the podcast, and this time we were talking about episodes 3 through 5.
Yes.
Dimo is ahead of me on episode. He just finished 7.
I am on 8 right now.
Yeah. I am taking my time even more than Dimo. I just finished the 5th episode before recording this. And we have different opinions than our initial thoughts after watching the first 2 episodes.
Here's the issue that I see with this show so far is I kind of wish that it was a flaming mess. And because right now it's bordering watchable and entertaining, which is it's difficult to say because the show's gone rudderless.
Yeah.
When you compare it to the anime at this point, it's lost most of its philosophy, like the really deep contrast of the 90s, the late 90s is gone. I don't know about you, I'm getting more like 70s vibes from a lot of this show, and I don't know why they had to do that, because the beauty of the show is that it's a space opera with Midwestern attributes and vibes here and there, but with set in the 90s. It was made in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Keep the same vibe. I don't know why they had to change everything. Like the cars.
That's one of the things that really kind of, especially in this last episode, in this 5th episode, with Jet and Fad going back to find Uday after all those years of where Jet was exiled because of the dirty cop, whatever, and framed and all this stuff.
Yeah, and he was kicked off of the force. So that was one of the things that I kind of picked up on when his partner, when Fad showed up to meet Jet in that old, I think it was a Chrysler, maybe an old or a Cadillac. I don't know what it was exactly. It looked like a Cadillac.
It was an older car.
It looked like a Cadillac.
And in the anime, I don't even think we saw a car once.
I think there were a couple of times, but most
maybe
of
on Earth.
Most of most likely a flashback. Faye's episode, they were using speeders at that point.
It just seems weird. They're I don't know if they just didn't want to cough up the money and make all the cars and all the vehicles look so futuristic, so they just threw in some old school I guess throwback vehicles, obviously because we're in the future in this, but that vibe is so off for me because I don't know. For me, it's I don't know where we are, and that's the biggest thing. When I'm watching the show, I'm kind of all over the place because one second you get this amazing shot of space and the Bebop flying through space, or the swordfish flying through the sky, when Faye steals it that one of those times in episode 4, and it's this is incredible. And then you see these people driving in the streets, and the streets are so shitty, and you see the cars, and it's just it seems like 2 different things at this point.
To me this seems like they had a really, really good chance at nailing the show. And I understand why they made a lot of these changes to make the show fit in with today's, culture and all that other stuff. But they didn't have to do that. The show, it's not like if they were going to bring Entourage back, it would be next to impossible to have that show air in this day and age.
Well, that's the same thing with The Office.
Right, which the amount of just crap that they say.
Yeah.
Inappropriate, whatever. But Cowboy Bebop isn't like that. I don't remember there being anything that would be offensive to anybody. You know what I mean? And it has some it is politically charged at times, especially with the stuff with the syndicate.
Yeah.
And the leadership structure, the coup, and how the show ends. But with the same token, I don't see there being really a need for them to make a lot of these changes, Jet's ex-wife and kid.
That's probably one of the biggest. I know you were saying, we talked about it, and you were saying
I could live with it in the grand scheme of everything that they've changed.
And that's fair. I completely agree with that. I don't think that is such a drastic change where it warrants this show sucks response. But that is one of the things that I'm it's weird to me, but it's fine. I think like the weirdest thing by far is, and I think we'll just say this and then we can just go through go through the 3 episodes. For me, by far is honestly the relationship between Spike and Fay. I think that is just like so like weird and just off compared to like the anime, that it's just like a little, I don't know.
Well, they had, if you remember the anime, they had kind of like a brother-sister relationship where they were just like bickering. They were all like that
all the time.
Yeah, and there wasn't really any point where they maybe sometimes their interests aligned, but for the most part they never saw eye to eye. Especially at the end there, the last part of the anime series when Spike goes to kill face Vicious, and she kind of stops him and she almost shoots the guy. Yeah, like that's that kind of like tragic bond between the brother and sister that I don't see. And the Fae in this show has been written a lot younger than the Fae in the anime. At least it feels like she's older than she is in the anime. Where here in the live action, I feel like she's a lot younger. Yeah. Like maturity wise, I understand. She's been in cryosleep for however long, but still, she shouldn't have the same, I don't know, motivation that I saw in the anime character. That makes the anime character a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's true, because we'll get into that once we get to that episode. That's episode 4. But let's talk about episode 3 first. That is the episode 3 was where we first are introduced to Ein. Mm-hmm. And who is the I forget the guy's name. The person that kidnapped like all the dogs. Who was it?
Oh fudge! What's the name? Sally Doll. Some shit like that.
No, Sally Doll was the doll
that was the doll name. Yeah.
that Jet wanted to get for his daughter.
I forget what the name of that guy was.
Well, I don't quite remember the anime in terms of like what his motivation was, but in this episode,
Chalmers or some shit, or Hakeem.
Hakeem, that's what it was. Hakeem, because Chalmers was his the guy that stole his
Hakeem
wife.
And Chalmers.
Hakeem, I don't remember his motivations in the anime for the dogs. I think he just stole Ein and was trying to sell him for just to get money, and that was that. But now in this episode, Hakeem worked for these rich people, and when the Earth was like going to shit, all the rich people took their dogs in the escape pods rather than taking Hakeem and his family who worked for them. So he wanted, and after he survived, so after he grows up, whatever, he wants to get revenge on these people. He kills 12 or however many people, and kidnaps their dogs, and was gonna just kill their dogs as like a screw you to those people. But obviously he doesn't, because there's like a scene where he's like, they're just so cute or whatever. And I don't know, that I don't know, that was just, I guess the story there was kind of cool, and it was like pretty all right. He was a bounty for no one really knew why he had the face changer. They had to go and find him. That was all right. I think the story, I didn't think it was I guess too far off. It was somewhat captivating.
Well, we're not really meant to. I don't think we're meant to agree with his decision to kill the rich people and steal their dogs. If that's what you were getting at, but
I'm just trying to think because there's some things in other episodes where there's big changes compared to the anime.
Well, that's what makes it difficult to follow.
Yeah, that's what I'm having so much trouble following.
Some of the I'm having issues, and I've seen the original anime so many times.
Yeah.
The issue is that they have maybe one little part that's very accurate to the character's ethos or the storyline, or a bar, or maybe something like that you'll see later on. And then something will be completely different for I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. And you're okay, well, they changed that. And then they kind of throw something in there that's true, though. Yeah. So they're mixing and mashing, and they're making it their own. But it's difficult to follow. And it's maybe for the first episode, I could kind of put things in one bucket or the other. Yeah. But then after episode 1, it gets difficult. Here we go. It gets difficult. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they did that on purpose because they don't want us comparing. Because I find
yes, but then they also said that we're going to stay true to the anime. That was like
well, they haven't done that.
Yeah, that was something that they said. They said we're going to stay true to the anime, and that was like something that I think was talked about a lot, and like something that, as they were making this, was supposed to reassure fans and like hardcore fans of Cowboy Bebop that it wasn't. This show was not meant to change, to necessarily like change what was happening originally, just to kind of like build off of it. And it, like you said, it's just not doing that. It's just there's only one. You could see one thing that's similar in this compared to the anime.
It makes sense to me that they wanted to kind of keep people's opinions of it as fresh as they could. So maybe that was a strategy from the writing perspective. So I guess maybe it's easier to look at the show without comparing it, but it's difficult to do that when the anime is so much better.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is Netflix money. I mean, the sets and everything. Some of the sets look really fake in this episode.
Yeah.
And after the first episode, for the most part, was really good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's first episode. I think, at least for first episode is kind of like up here. And then second episode kind of takes a little bit of a hit, but not too much.
It's been going down steadily since then.
Not too much. And then episode 3 comes and you're like going down to here, and then 4 is down to here. 5 kind of levels it out and like, you know, maybe brings it up slope a little bit again. But like 3, then you have the what was it? So in 3, I think there was the scene where Jet brings Ein to his daughter as the present because the doll, he can't find the doll, or he found the doll and destroyed it. Yeah. So he brings Ein to his daughter, and then we see again how the taxes on the dogs are like crazy because dogs are basically like almost extinct now in that time. And then he ends up keeping Ein because his daughter is like, am I going to be able to see him again? So that's fine, whatever. And then like I think the real like, because the scenes with Hakeem were just like it just seemed like because the whole time Spike was trying to stay on that planet because Vicious was there, and it seemed like Hakeem was not a big deal at all in the episode. So it was just that Spike was trying to get to Vicious, and he was getting help from that the sushi truck guy.
Yeah,
the food truck
kept
guy.
leaving him notes.
Yeah.
This is where I think they're also trying to do a little too much, like you said, because there's some episodes of the original anime that are kind of like stray bullets.
Yeah.
Where there's nothing really pushing the Syndicate plot line. There's nothing really pushing any of their backstories.
Yeah.
It's just like Toys in the Attic's a great example. It's a fun episode, and it was made particularly to reference the movie Alien.
Yeah.
Where you're trapped in a spaceship with no gas, and there's some shit that's going to kill you.
Yeah, there's stuff going on.
But they're trying to do, like, they did that with, I'm jumping ahead here, they did that with the episode where Jet went back with his old partner.
Yeah.
Half the episode was Fay and Spike doing nothing. Half the episode was Jet confronting his past.
Yeah.
Odai.
Yeah.
Odai. And this is the same thing here. Part of, I guess Hakeem is considered, a big part of the storyline because of Ein. Mm-hmm. But still, though, there's a lot in there that makes it seem like they're trying to mush way too much.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to think of it like other shows that do this, because you get it in a lot of shows where they're, your past is kind of catching up with you, and we're seeing more and more of the Syndicate as these episodes are going on.
It's not a good thing.
I don't think so either. Yeah, and so in episode 3, there was the scene where I think it was episode 3 where Vicious and his 2 henchmen that he has that go with him everywhere.
Yeah, those are weird guys.
Go into that factory, and all those people are naked and they have their eyelids shut, and then they just shoot them all.
They all had these elbow length surgical gloves. I don't even know what was the purpose of them being naked. I
don't know. I think they were making
red eye. Red eye, yeah, it was a red eye. And
so
factory.
I guess that maybe the elders. That was so unclear about that scene. Maybe the elders told him to shut it down, so he just went and killed everybody.
I think I know why they sewed their eyes shut, so they couldn't use any of the red eye.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
But why are they naked though?
I don't know. That was just a weird scene. So we saw that scene with Vicious, and then. Then we had Julia going to see Anna in that bar again, where she was in her office, and she says "Oh, you're drinking Kudo again." So
Yes.
there's that, and then like again, we're seeing so much of Julia, especially in the next 2 episodes. We see so much of Julia again, and Vicious, and they're just trying to push this like the past is catching up, and it's like we're obviously. The way we're going, it seems like the cathedral scene is going to be like the last episode.
Well, that is Ballad of Fallen Angels.
Yeah.
Will be the last episode.
That's what it seems like.
If you look at the thumbnail, it's.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't look ahead, but yeah, no, yeah. So
that only puts us, and we've jumped so far around, but
yeah,
in terms of pushing the plot, this stays true to what I was saying in terms of them going at it at thirds.
Yep.
Right, a third of the series, you push that syndicate plot line with Vicious to the last scene in the church, and then the next third will end probably with Jupiter Jazz.
Yeah.
And then the last one's probably gonna end with the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes. So I don't know, because then after that scene with so then obviously Julia goes to see Anna and asks about the Kudo, and then there's that last very end scene of episode 3 where Spike calls Vicious, and everyone they're like referring to him as Fearless, and I don't think I want to refer to him as Fearless because I think
that
it's
name
stupid.
really upsets me.
Yeah,
man.
I just hear it. And
there's a reason you
stupid.
don't. These things are. There's a reason a lot of the parts of the story are a mystery. The reason we don't see Julie a lot. You're not meant to see a lot of her.
We're not
Vicious.
meant to see her.
You're not meant to see a lot.
And he's not meant to.
The Syndicate's really cool. I get
Yeah.
it. I always have wanted more. Maybe a spin-off series. It's never going to happen. But you get what you get, and that is more than enough to satisfy
But
the story.
I think that's also what's so cool about the Syndicate, because they're so like mysterious, and because they're like so like in the shadows. Like we don't see that much because they don't want us to know that much, and I think that's just like a cool part of it.
I agree.
And so we see that scene where Spike is on that silo, and he's talking to Vicious and from the car, and Spike shoots at Vicious, knowing obviously he's not going to kill him, but shoots at Vicious, and Vicious like freaks out that Spike is there. That's like Spike is there, and I think the best part of that scene was, I told you yesterday, the best part of that scene for me was when Spike was walking away, and the sniper,
angle.
Yeah, the sniper was off, the phone was down. There was like unfocused shot of Spike walking away. I thought that was the best scene. Like that, like shot was really cool.
It looks good. The show
looks really good,
especially on a good TV.
Yeah.
But see, it's difficult because you're caught between looking back at the anime and trying to look at it on its own, because on its own it's very entertaining.
Yeah, definitely.
As it is, it's entertaining.
But that's the thing, though. That's for people that have not seen the anime, yes, you can look at it and it's like, this is entertaining, it's fun, whatever, it's cool, it's a good show. But like, we've seen the anime, you especially have seen it so many times that you're trying to make those connections back to the show, like back to the anime, and it makes it confusing, which is what we said earlier. Like, I've only seen it once, and I'm trying to like fit all these pieces into like where it's going, and it's just so confusing.
There's this like old saying when it comes to producing content in Hollywood or whatever, anime, whatever it is, only source the content once. Mm-hmm. So anime is sourced primarily from a manga. Unfortunately, this case it isn't really.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why live action anime fails is because you're double sourcing. The anime more than likely comes from the manga.
Yeah.
So it's already been sourced once. You source it again.
Okay.
It's been proven that it hasn't come out very good.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting.
Video games maybe are well, we don't really have too many really, really good video game movies or TV shows. But you can kind of connect that there, I guess, with this show. Maybe you are kind of double sourcing it. Maybe
that
they
makes
are
sense, actually.
inadvertently without doing it, because like I said, it really only came from the anime. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, that was episode 3. Kind of, I think the again the most eventful thing in episode 3 was the stuff about the Syndicate, and it was just like kind of weird with the naked people. Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of like eyebrow raising, like the stuff with the dungeons and all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
Very interesting choice of something. Again, something that wasn't in the anime. It's just we put that there for whatever reason.
And then, so episode 4 is when Faye confronts the person and the people that woke her from cryo sleep and scammed her.
Yeah, she was with the weird short bearded guy.
Yeah,
beardy.
where she was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna shoot your dick off.
Yeah, that was fun. That's another thing that pisses me off about Faye. She's too Spitfire. They had a really good vibe with her in the original, a good balance, where she would say really fiery stuff, but at the same time she was kind of this low key romantic girl, and now she's just all on one side. Because
I feel like when we got those moments of Faye, it was because she had her guard up, and she needed to be kind of overbearing and say those things to it was a layer to protect herself.
Yeah, this is very forced.
And then she opens up more, and it's you're seeing who Faye really is. And this is just they're making it her personality.
Which I guess is fine. There's nothing I'm not against it. I just don't like the abrupt difference.
Change.
It's a very abrupt change.
It's a big change.
Very abrupt change. That whole scene at the ballroom looked really fake. Did you see her bullet wound?
Oh my god, I have it written down right here.
That was probably
what is up with that?
This is the worst make any it just looks like someone took
dude. She runs out of the bar
she gets shot. Yeah.
Shot in this arm, say, and this with the gun.
Yeah, that's not possible.
And then she's she's on the Bebop, and she's ow, that kind of hurts, and just moving it. Do you want us to help you? No, I'm fine. And then she steals the ship and is going full force with the swordfish, using the arm that's shot.
I think to argue in favor of this show, to be honest with you, they're kind of staying true to the anime there. Because anytime any one of these characters has been in any sort of real physical trauma, the next scene after they get saved is them all bandaged up on the couch, whereas any normal person would be in ICU recovery.
Well, yeah, no, that's fine. Because we see Jet patches her up before they go to who is the people? I forget the group that you said for
the Callisto group.
Yeah, the Callisto group. So before they go to find them, Jet patches her up, and then the next scene she's ready to go. That's fine. But I'm talking about the 5 scenes before that where she has the bullet wound still.
The bullet wound didn't even look real.
No, it was just so.
I don't know was the shot definitely wasn't didn't graze her because it was.
No, it was dead on.
Yeah,
you could see the hole.
Yeah, you get all sorts of muscle tear.
Yeah, and
tissues,
she's just whipping the gun around and fighting and all this stuff. It's that was so at least have Jet patch her up and then be okay, fine, they have the technology, heals it up quick, whatever.
It looked fake, but I think they were doing their best to stay true to the.
It was just weird to me how completely fine she was until they were on the Bebop and she was just just moving her shoulder around.
Yeah. Then she swears way too much, when they were at the diner.
Yeah, so the Callisto group and they were eco-terrorists wanting to get this company, the CEO, to stop doing what they're doing because they're killing all these whatever animals and this whatever. So they were gonna threaten to use this bomb that does what they're doing to the whatever they were talking about, I forget. And they accidentally drop the grenade, and it turns the CEO into a tree.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And so they're these environmental activists, have the gas to turn people into trees. So, and then we were saying earlier that they didn't even look like the group from the anime.
It doesn't really this episode doesn't really touch the quality of the anime either, aside from the visuals being really I had put down this episode in particular looked very good.
Yeah, especially that end scene when they were on that planet with and that looked really good.
I don't know, it feels like they're trying to do too much. The show itself on its own, the original, is charming as it is. You don't need to embellish the thing anymore. It just looks like it's over embellished and it's dripping and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dial some of that color back a little bit. But none of this episode was really on pace with the anime.
It just seemed because like I don't even remember the mask that they were wearing, the Callisto group, because I'm pretty sure in the anime they were wearing like pig masks, and then this one looked just completely different. It was just like it's just the vibe seemed off. It was just weird. But again, there wasn't. I don't think we got any Syndicate stuff in this episode. Maybe a little bit where Vicious was gonna start the coup.
Yeah, he was declared full on war against the elders. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like the only we got a little piece.
Well, there was some Julia in there a little bit. I think
when she was talking to Vicious about starting the coup.
Yeah. Too much. I don't want the relationship between Vicious and Julia sucks.
Yeah,
that's awful.
That is just horrible.
I can't tell if it's their acting ability. The girl on her own, I think she makes a good Julia.
Well, I think so
together
too.
There's no.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it would have been better because, I think it could have been better if it wasn't just like they were married and. There's a little bit of an abusive relationship between Vicious and Julia, and it seems like and when she goes to see Anna, she's thinking about leaving or whatever, and then now they're trying to start a coup against the elders and all that. It's just too much.
Like I said, there's no need to show the relationship with Julia, and I just think that this show could have been a lot better had they kept the same ratio, the same amount of Julia. It's tricky to do, especially if you're planning multiple seasons, because you need to keep the audience interested, and if they only see Julia once or twice.
I feel like it could have been more captivating for the audience if in 10 episodes, because it's 10 episodes, if we saw Julia maybe 3 times in some flashbacks.
I'd say three, episode 3 and 6, and then maybe 9 or 10 you have her come back.
9 or 10, just and then you see her flashback, and then you maybe see her in the present, and it teases what's to come in season, in the second season where Spike is gonna go find her or whatever, or the Syndicate finds her, and then Spike has to save her or whatever.
Yeah,
that to me is a little bit more captivating than Vicious and Julia are married and they're trying to overthrow the Syndicate or whatever it may be.
The marriage thing bothers me.
The marriage thing bothers me a lot. They're trying to push the love triangle.
But here's the thing, though. The love triangle was perfect in the original because you knew clearly who was the front runner in that relationship. Because Vicious was a very evil guy.
Yeah.
He's got a Cockney accent, and he's stupid looking in this one. He's not. You know who he looks like? Edgar Allan Poe. Someone from that generation. You know what I mean? From very old Britain.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I mean, listen. That's on the design team. That's not on the actor. He got chose. He could did.
Nothing you can tell me about that accent will make it.
No, a lot of
acceptable.
people, including you and including me, are gonna think that probably wasn't the best choice for Vicious. As in, the actor wasn't the best choice for Vicious, but you can't rat on the guy because he was chosen and they probably told him he was going to be great and that he's doing great. But at the end of the day, it's on the casting directors and the design team because he doesn't look like Vicious, and he doesn't feel like Vicious. So that was basically episode 4. They go after the Callisto group. They stop the bomb that they were going to put off, and that was basically it. Now going into episode 5. I want to talk about quickly because we're already on it, the Vicious story and that, where they're trying to start the coup and they go see that woman to get her support. And she was the one that sent that Gunther, the assassin, to kill Spike. I think in the second episode.
Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther. She was the one that sent him. It was her assassin. We find out. And he was killed, and she obviously is a little upset about it, and he doesn't say who it was that they went after. But she ends up bringing up Fearless Spike. She ends up bringing up Spike, and Vicious gets so angry to the point of he was hysterical.
Yeah, there was a line in there that I thought was interesting. You'll never know true power until you taste the two testicles.
Dude, that part was just weird.
Who wronged you?
That was odd.
It's just like I can't remember if that was in the original. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
that. I don't think that.
I would have. I feel like we would have remembered a line like
Yeah.
that. It wouldn't have stuck out as much as that did.
There's just like I don't want to see Vicious or Julia. That's
But I
how
also
bad
don't want to see. I also don't want to see Vicious like that, where he was literally like shaking and like looked like he was about to like bawl his eyes out.
This
and,
guy's
like,
a cold assassin.
Like he shows no emotion in the anime. Like he's just like he's ruthless.
There was a scene in the anime when they were on Titan, and it was Gren and Vicious, and I want to say Vicious had the toy that played the Julia's theme.
Yeah, Julia's theme.
And he gave it to Gren, and Gren went to take it, and like almost instantaneously, Vicious slashed his knife at his hand.
Yeah.
But he didn't hit his hand; he hit the scorpion right above it.
Yeah.
But no emotion, nothing from the guy. I don't even think he said anything; he just walked away.
Yeah.
But this guy's stone cold, and this guy's a baby.
Dude, he just writes.
He seems very emotional.
Yeah, and like even with the elders, like he was like, we need to kill them so they never make me do that again or whatever. It's just he seems like way too emotional and compared to what Vicious is in the anime.
This whole thing with Mao saying no, and then if Julia sings for her, whatever, she will think about it or change her mind.
Yeah.
Again, like the whole like singing thing, like now, okay, we're bordering into like musical territory here.
Mm-hmm.
And if season 2 is a musical, and if they start doing these interpretive dances and songs, that will kill this.
Yeah.
It's just like there's certain things they're throwing in here, like no.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that was, and then at the very end, Julia figures out that Spike's alive. She drops the glass.
Fearless is alive.
Fearless is alive. So there's that scene. So obviously, that is coming up now. That I guess if she looks for him or whatever happens, that's obviously coming up. You might know if something came up in episode 6 or 7. But going back to, I think the main part of the 5th episode is Jet and Fad. The partners, we get the flashback of Jet's like origin story a little bit.
Those chase scenes, and when they broke the smoke or whatever, and the
and that like hookah bar or something.
Some of those scenes were good. In the docks and the shipping yard, that was pretty good too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely a plus for the episode was that little storyline.
Yeah.
And they got the noir right. I like that because
Mm-hmm.
that was in the original, regardless of it being a '90s. Got that throwback to like the '50s, '60s noir, which I like that. I appreciated they stuck true with. But they're bouncing around too much with like the themes and like the color choices and like the time settings.
Yeah.
I just really wish that we would have more of a primary storyline. And then a shorter secondary storyline that doesn't cover a lot of the episode. Whereas they're bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. And I think that back and forth, too, came from... We were seeing Spike and Fay trying to figure out what bounty to go after. After that, like, prison ship, Pointless.
Nothing
and it was weird because, like you said, that like I don't know if we said this before we started recording, but... They're like Spike and Faye's relationship is very brother and sister, and in this episode it was like they were trying to one up each other, but then like when Faye said she was the one that she was the bounty hunter that brought in that
that was like really prized bounty that I don't think Spike could even get to.
And then he was like shot, and then all of a sudden he was in awe.
You didn't get really a lot of that. There was at one point. Like a mutual respect between Spike. There's a mutual respect between all of them to a certain degree.
But it's like I feel like it's a very unspoken, like just mutual respect.
No. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying in the original, there was mainly the disagreements.
Yes.
But they did respect each other as bounty hunters.
Yeah.
And this is like, at one point, and we talked about this. At one point, I felt like this was a bit of like a romantic.
It's
bridge here.
It is weird how it kind of played, how they kind of played off of each other.
But I think it does kind of get a little bit more clear in episode 6 or 7. I won't
We'll talk
We'll talk about that when we do.
Yeah, when we get there.
But I think what they're trying to do with her in this sort of like nebulous thing that they got going on, it becomes clear later on why.
Yeah, and so I mean, it just seemed kind of pointless. So I don't know.
Like I said, it's just like there's parts since like the first episode, I haven't really enjoyed one all the way through. There's been parts where I'm like, this really
paused. I paused episode 4 3 times. I stopped watching it.
And you picked it. That was me with episode 7.
I stopped watching it. I picked it back up again. Yeah. I stopped watching. I could have probably gotten to episode 7, but I was just like, things were coming up that I was like, okay, I have to do this. And it's like usually when I'm watching a show, I'll push everything that I have to do until I'm done with the show. So it's a little boring sometimes. There's some parts. It's just like I want to be like so much more into the show than I am.
I don't. I'm kind of. This is like I honestly like I would have preferred
to be a flop.
Yeah, and I hate to say that, but I'm trying to look at this, and I know what Steve Bloom would say. Steve Bloom, voice of Spike, the original. You'd say, it's fantastic, and they brought their own vision to the table, and I respect that, and I've been wanting to say something because I hate shitting on it, but. It's so close because when you're really close to something, it's difficult not to criticize everything. It's like when your car, you're the only one that'll notice where maybe like one spoke of the wheel is a little dirtier than the other. No one else is going to notice that.
A little scratch, like micro scratch on the.
Whereas we know a couple people that like the show but have not seen the original. Yeah. So there is some.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There. It's like the show itself can be great on its own. As just imagine the anime never existed. The show on its own is.
Imagine the anime never existed. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. But the show itself, it's great. So it's it's entertaining. Yeah. So. That being said, it's like it's entertaining, but as you know that there's like, especially a big majority of the people that are going to watch the show are fans of the anime. Yeah. So don't make it feel like it's something completely different, because then you're going to lose a majority of your viewers if you do end up going through with a season 2. Because obviously there's going to be people that didn't watch the anime that love it. But and then I guess you could say like somebody that a franchise that did a good job of that was, you could say, the MCU. Because the MCU there are like things that you can get into in the MCU that are a lot different than the comics and the source material, but they do it in a way that like is good for the original fans and the people that read the comics that are now watching it on the big screen, and it's also entertaining and good for the fans that have never read the comics and are just seeing it for the first time on screen. Yeah. Like you need that happy medium. You need to be able to have your creative control, but also stay true to what you're actually making.
The sad part about all of this, Peter, is that this is probably the best anime adaptation that's ever been made. Really? That's another thing that needs to be considered. I know you haven't seen many of them, but compared to what we've gotten so far, the Death Note, which I didn't really take too much time into there. I saw part of it. Dragon Ball. Yeah. Now they're doing Yu Yu Hakusho. It's something that doesn't need to be made, and so far this is the best anime to live action that anyone's ever seen. So, I mean, they've succeeded there, but they've failed in epic proportions in the transfer rate.
Hopefully if they do go through with season 2, that they can see what the feedback was and maybe do a little bit better.
What are they going to, like, change everything?
No, I mean, like, they can, because obviously it's only 10 episodes, and there's 26 to take from, because obviously they're taking pretty much straight from the episodes. They're not, like, branching off into new missions. They're pretty much taking, so far what we've seen, they've just done what's done in the anime. So do it like that, but do it a little bit more true. Like, stay a little bit more true.
I say do 8 and 8, two more seasons, 8 episodes each. That'll get you to 26 total. Yeah. And be a bit more, like, mindful with the content you're choosing to use. Yeah. Okay. At this point, I don't know that a Toys in the Attic episode with this cast is needed, just because we have so much of that crap so far,
Uh,
and them wasting a whole episode out of 8
Yeah.
just for that. No, I don't think so.
but I mean, if they did do that right now, then we're obviously going to get a huge syndicate scene in there too.
You're gonna get a lot if they do that right now. I don't think it's coming up. But
No, I don't think so.
there was a Perot.
I know, yeah. Well, that's
that's
because we saw
episode
that
8.
in the. Have you gotten to that one yet?
I'm watching it right now.
Oh, okay. That's episode 8.
I mean, so far, tomato meter is 48%, so it's gone down a little bit since last week.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
What's the fan score?
Average audience score is 53.
I mean, it's not as bad as I thought.
Some of these people are leaving some very like
Harsh.
very, very harsh. Like, was this bad on purpose? The show will defecate on the part of your soul that feels nostalgia for Cowboy Bebop. Like, that's pretty bad. That was 3 hours ago. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot to like about this, I think. And I don't know what I would say. What would you say to somebody that hasn't seen the anime or the original? I would probably tell them, for the sake of your, just watch the original, and then, if you have time. An argument could be made for someone is to watch the live action first, because then you'll appreciate the anime better.
I think that's what I would say.
I don't know that I would do that.
Watch the live action first if you've never watched the anime.
I feel like I would be influenced by a lot.
Well, it's like saying like I feel like it's like saying to somebody, actually no, I agree. I'd say watch the anime first, because now I'm thinking about it in terms of Justice League, because I've told so many people because I know people that have not watched the theatrical cut.
Oh, I would love to erase that from my memory.
I told them, do not watch the theatrical cut, just watch Snyder cut. That's all you need to watch. The other one should not exist in your mind. So
that's kind of what I did with Berserk. Berserk, I got into it very late in the game, and there's so much. There's anime, there's movies, and the one person I spoke to just read it, read up until the point where the anime ends, and then continue off from there. But read first.
Yeah.
And I kind of did that, and I started watching it at some point because you want to do everything. But no, I agree. I think you got to start with the source. In this case, the source being the anime.
Yeah. Once I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you definitely have to start with the source. So that's I guess what would you give it? Because last time I think, what'd you give it, a B+ for the first 2 episodes?
B- right now.
B-.
So
yeah.
You've gone down 2 grades.
You got down 2 letter grades. So that's a.
I got this show ending at a C for me.
Is a C good? A C's good. A C's like a pass.
So if we're gonna break it down like they do in like NFL Combine or like strength, whatever.
Yeah.
I would say A for effort.
Yep.
D for delivery. C+ for style.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the acting at a C+. I'm sorry, there's some pretty bad acting in there. I will say though, the one person that's driving that to a C+ is Mustafa Shakir, I think, the guy that plays Jet.
Yeah, I love him. He's the
one
best character so far.
No disrespect to John Cho, because I love Harold and Kumar.
Yeah.
But you seen Harold and Kumar?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's from the movie. I don't think he's right for it. I'm sorry. I think he's a little wooden at times.
I think he's got the look for it.
Yeah, he's got the look.
He's got the look, and that I think is great. But like you said, I don't think he's 100% Spike.
I don't believe that he's Spike.
I believe Jet's Jet.
Yeah, well, he sounds like him too. So whoever his vocal coach is.
Yeah. So
very good job.
I believe Jet is Jet. I'm like 50-50 on Spike being Spike.
Probably like 30-60. And
I'm
it's just going down by episode.
80-20 on Vicious. Or 20-80 on Vicious, sorry.
I don't have, there's no part of me that likes him.
The only part of me that likes Vicious is...
Come on, you like the accent. I bet you like the accent.
No.
Hello.
No.
My name's Vicious.
I don't even know.
I'm going to kill you.
Vicious. I guess the only thing I like about Vicious is that he's in the show.
It's not. You know what's really funny now that I think about it? You could completely remove Vicious from the show,
and it'd still be.
It would be exactly the same.
Exactly the same. You could literally take out Vicious and Julia even. Keep the Syndicate in it, like maybe them
It
finding
might
out.
actually be better that way now that I think about it.
If you had them out of it and the Syndicate was
Yeah,
like
that's a
finds
good
out
idea.
that Spike is alive and they want to go after him, that makes for a way better story.
Someone could make a fan edit, just cut all that crap out, and then he's just referencing someone. Who's Julia? And then there's an actual mystery.
Yeah, then there's a mystery. That would be so much better. But yeah, no. So next week we should be done.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure,
No,
we'll be done.
Maybe I'll watch one tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Next week we'll be done. So we'll cover episodes 6 to 10. We'll cover 4 episodes next week, and finish off the Netflix series and give our overall grade. Because right now it went from episodes 1 and 2 was a B plus. Episodes 3 through 5 was a B minus. So we'll see how it turns out. But
did I have anything else here? I just want to glaze over my notes here before we wrap it up. 3, 4, and 5, right?
3, 4, and 5, yeah.
Yeah. The bath shower line, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That Fay
Yeah, that one.
That really pissed me off.
And then what did he say when she goes crap shit crap? Is that like a
Yeah?
That was like, but that's the thing. It's the comedy that seems forced for me.
It's not just a comedy, but like she's swearing too. She doesn't swear like that in the show.
Yeah.
Like to me, this looks like a 15-year-old girl. Like not physically, but everything she's doing.
Like her like maturity.
Her maturity level.
Yeah.
I wonder what age did she go in? Interesting.
In cryo sleep.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no way.
Wasn't she in the anime? She got in the accident, and that's why she was in cryo sleep.
Yeah, but she had a child. You'll learn some more things about her in this universe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they said something about what you're
Estimated age is 23. I don't think she's acting like a 23-year-old. She's acting like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And like I said, they've written her a little younger, but in the show, you look at her and the way she's acting, I would say late 20s.
Yeah.
But she's 23. Perceived age.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, so we'll see how it unfolds. But I want to talk about I want to change gears and I want to talk about something teaser I think we got on Thanksgiving, and it was Zack Snyder on his social media posting a video of his Thanksgiving turkey, and then in the background, very blurry in the background, there was a picture of a book. You'll see it right. Yeah, pick the second one because it's a little bit closer up. It's hard to see, but there.
Get some glasses.
In the background, we see the book, the Final Crisis book. Right over in that background next to the. I think your computer's covering it. Move your computer a little bit so they can see where it is. Yeah, perfect. I think at least, but yeah, right in the background there, you'll see it. It's in a strategic place. Definitely in a strategic place, and we've gotten back at DC Fandom, we got a teaser from Jim Lee about something happening with Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Ooh.
If you remember that like Instagram challenge he did, he posted something every day. It was like a.
I don't think I follow him anymore.
Well, so they announced it at DC Fandom. Like every day, he posted like a shot, like a picture that he drew of a cover, and the game was, put the puzzle pieces together and figure out what it was. And then on DC Fandom, they unveiled the final pieces, and it was the cover to Crisis on Infinite Earths. And they kind of just said like, something might be coming, whatever. No one really knew, and then nothing's really been mentioned since DC Fandom, and then this happens where it's Final Crisis. Could it be related?
What is that book on top of there? What does that look like? It's like some blue lettering.
I don't know. I think I just think it's meant to be there to kind of like take your eyes away from it and like kind of hide the book because Final Crisis is on the bottom. But I don't know. Is it meant to, stir the pot a little bit? What are we thinking? Like, what are your theories?
Oh, maybe he's working on it. Maybe he's just reading it. You ever think about that? No, you didn't.
No, I mean I did, but I feel like that's way too
Maybe he likes fucking with you. This guy likes fucking with people.
That's true.
With his cryptic messages.
I hope not, because Final Crisis.
Thanksgiving turkeys.
In Final Crisis, Darkseid has the anti-life equation and enslaves like humankind and everything like that. So then the Justice League, which is basically how the Snyder Cut ends. So maybe they're just doing like here's a Final Crisis movie and leave me alone after that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe he was just reading it.
Maybe he was just reading it, yeah. That's, I don't know, man. I mean, it's definitely not as like overt as like he just like slapped the book right next to the target. Like, hey, I just got this comic book in my kitchen.
Yeah, like it's definitely on purpose. But
well, that looks like it looks like his iPad's on top of there. So maybe that's like, because you know how people keep like I got like a stack of shit that I'm like using.
So it's that. Is it just a stack of shit, or is it meant to be there on purpose to get people excited for an announcement coming like in the spring or something?
I think it's just a stack of shit. But
or
I'll be
maybe
excited
at the
if
end
it
of the Flash movie.
I don't like to get my hopes up, as you can see, what's been given to me recently. So.
I can see the pain in your eyes when you say that.
Yeah, look what they did to my boy. Look how they massacred my boy. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's
there's a live look at me.
A live look at Dima watching Cowboy Bebop. Look at wonderful. But we'll see as time goes on if anything happens with Final Crisis. I know there's a lot of theories, and Zack Snyder basically broke Twitter after that post.
Yeah, I know everybody should have been spending time with their family, but they were on Twitter.
they like
tweeting.
Yeah, they went back to their layers and started tweeting.
Yeah.
But we'll see how what ends up happening. So.
Yep.
Next week.
Bebop. We'll wrap up Bebop.
And then also next week,
talk some video games soon.
Yeah,
I got a PS5.
Oh, okay,
I acquired a PS5.
Okay, we'll talk some video games soon, and then we also have at some point we'll talk a little bit about Hawkeye because that just came out too.
Haven't seen it yet.
Me either.
I haven't seen it. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that once we get around to it.
All right, sounds good, guys.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week on the podcast.
Bang.